Welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. And let's not waste no time. Let's get right into it. So, I was watching an episode of NBA Open Court, and they were having a conversation about the best teams never to win an NBA championship. And Kevin McHale came up with the team. He said it started in the late 70s and extended into the early 80s. The Philadelphia 76ers. Now, when Julius Erving got there, the 76ers were known as Dr. J and the Traveling Dunk Show. Okay. They were known as Dr. J and the Traveling Dunk Show. And the first members of that Traveling Dunk Show got there in 1975 when he was drafted out of high school. The late Daryl Dawkins, who was drafted in 1975 out of high school. And then George McGinnis came over from the ABA. And just a few years earlier, the 76ers had been the worst team in the league, going 9-73 a few years earlier. So by 1976, with the addition of Dawkins and George McGinnis and head coach Gene Shue, they went 46-36 in 1976 and were back in the playoffs. Then the ABA folded in 1976. And Julius Erving was sold to the Philadelphia 76ers. And that's what put the 76ers over the top. That's what really put the 76ers over the top. And as I just said, they were known as Dr. J and the Traveling Dunk Show. And they had a cast of characters from Daryl Dawkins to Dr. J to World B. Free, George McGinnis, Doug Collins, Mike Dunleavy, Terry Furlow, Henry Bibby, Caldwell Jones, Steve Mix, Joe Jelly Bean Bryant, Kobe's dad, Fred Carter was still on the roster, and Harvey Hutchings, who would later play for the Bucks, and a guy by the name of Barnett, last name Barnett. That was Dr. J in the Traveling Dunk Show. They went 15-32 in his first season, Dr. J's first season. And they made it to the NBA Finals and were up 2 games to none. They were up by 18 in game 2 when a Portland player grabbed the rebound and Dawkins just threw him to the floor. And all hell broke loose, and that was pretty much the turning point of the series. Before Game 3, Daryl Dawkins had been talking about what he was going to do to Maurice Lucas, what he was going to do to the Portland Trail Blazers and whatnot. And just before Game 3 started, Maurice Lucas ran down to the 76ers bench and shook Daryl Dawkins' hands. They both shook hands. And I guess that was a psychological ploy by Maurice Lucas. That was a psychological ploy by Maurice Lucas, okay? Because the Trailblazers won Game 3 pretty convincingly. Dawkins didn't do much for the rest of the series. So they won Game 3 convincingly. Then they blew out the 76ers by 32 points in Game 4. 130-98 was the final score. Think about that for a second. 130-98. Portland defeated Philadelphia in Game 4. The only other lopsided games I can think of is when Game 3 of the 84 finals, when the Lakers won 137-104 over the Boston Celtics. And Game 3 of the 1998 NBA Finals, where the Bulls blew out the Jazz 96-54. Okay, so, but man, you lose 130-98 in the finals. Whew. Anyway, so the series was tied at 2-2. They went back to Philadelphia, and needless to say, at halftime, the Philadelphia fans were booing the 76ers because they were just playing so poorly at home in Game 5, which the Blazers won. Then Dr. J came back for Game 6. He scored 40 in Game 6. Had about 3 spectacular dunks. The one that he had over Bobby Gross, and the one where he came down on a fast break and he dunked over Bill Walton's face. Dunked in Bill Walton's face. Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson was actually talking about that dunk. He said, you got to remember something. Bill Walton actually had feet in those days, so he could actually jump. And Julius Erving kept going and going and going, and wham, in his face. That's how Magic. That's how Magic described that. Had a dunk, but it lost the series 4 games to 2 in Game 6, and it was pretty much the same team that came back for 1978. Only thing about it is they had a new head coach, Billy Cunningham. Swept the Knicks in the first round, but lost to Washington in the conference finals. So for 1979, they added Maurice Cheeks and Bobby Jones to the mix. Failed again in the playoffs. The core was still pretty much there of Dawkins, Dr. J, Collins, Henry Bibby, Caldwell Jones, Steve Mix. They were all still there. But Lloyd Free, World B. Free, was in San Diego by 1979. And George McGinnis was in Indiana by 1979. So, Mo Cheeks and Bobby Jones come in. Then in 1980, they had Lionel Hollins, Clint Richardson go all the way to the finals. Of course, Magic had 42, 15, and 7. People forget Jamal Wilkes dropped 38 of his own in Game 6. Wait a minute, did I say Game 7 or Game 6? Man, anyway, Magic dropped 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists in Game 6, and Jamal Wilkes had 38 points of his own. Okay. Then in 1981, they got one of the final pieces that they needed. The Boston Strangler. The Boston Strangler, Andrew Toney. So they added Andrew Toney for 81. Had a spectacular season. Took a 3-1 lead over the Celtics in the conference finals. Blew it. Lost in 7 games. So 76ers come back for 82. Have a good season. Blow a 3-1 lead to the Celtics again. But this time they beat the Celtics. Not only did they beat the Celtics, they actually kicked their ass in the Boston Garden in Game 7. It was a blowout. It was a blowout in Boston Garden for the Philadelphia 76ers. Blew the Celtics out of the building, okay? Last time that had happened was when the Knicks blew out the Celtics in Game 7 of the 1973 Eastern Conference Finals. They advanced to the NBA Finals. The Sixers still couldn't get past the Lakers. Then the one final piece they needed was Moses Malone, that is. The Sixers went 65-17 that year. And you remember when the reporter asked Moses Malone how the Sixers would do in the playoffs of his year? He uttered his famous foo, 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 foo. Fo. They actually lost once to the Milwaukee Bucks. They actually lost once to the Milwaukee Bucks in the conference finals. But they swept up the Knicks, beat the beat the Bucks in five, swept the Lakers on the way to their first NBA title. So Kevin McHale was talking about that, and he said by the time 1983 came about, hold on.
Okay.
I don't know what had happened, but Siri just somehow popped up in the corner. Okay. Anyway, back to it. So Kevin McHale was talking about by the time 1983 came along, and how Moses Malone put the 76ers over the top. And Kevin McHale said the 76ers won the title when Dr. J really wasn't their best player anymore. Moses Malone put them over the top along with Dr. J, Andrew Toney, Mo Cheeks, Bobby Jones. They actually had to trade Daryl Dawkins and Caldwell Jones. They traded Daryl Dawkins that same offseason. They acquired Moses Malone, and they traded Caldwell Jones to the Rockets for Moses Malone in order to get Moses Malone. So a couple of personnel moves put the Sixers over the top. And Magic Johnson recalls that series. Everybody in the world was rooting against the Lakers because they wanted to see Dr. J get one. So, but yeah, one of the best teams never to win a championship, as Kevin McHale said, started in the late 70s on into the early 80s. The late 70s Sixers, early 80s Sixers. And like Kevin McHale said, Moses put them over the top. They won the championship when Dr. J really wasn't their best player anymore. So, all right. That's it, and that's all for the... Look at me about to say the name of my other podcast. That's it for Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am out of here. Peace out. May God bless you all.